Welcome, chill out, grab some tea, enjoy this chat. I've actually not done this for some time, so excited to get into it and really share some thoughts in a very informal and laid back way around certain concepts and ideas that I've been thinking about that hopefully would help you along your journey as a working creative. To give you a bit of background about myself, my name is Dia Hassan. I'm based in Dubai. I grew up in Dubai, and I run a content production house that is focused on digital marketing and digital strategies. And in conversations with some friends, it really got me thinking about the term a working creative. I feel like a lot of us are creative to a degree. You know, there's a lot of people that are creative in their day-to-day, find creative solutions, enjoy creativity, enjoy music, arts, filmmaking, and the rest of it. But it gets to the point where you become a working creative. Then a team of people, the industry, perhaps your family, are reliant on you performing as a creative. And I feel like that is a space that potentially you can get yourself in a space where you could be creatively burnt out. And I feel like that's kind of an area that I wanted to discuss today, because I feel like one of the first things that happen normally when you are in a creative burnout is you start doubting yourself. You could be in a situation where you're telling yourself, am I good enough? Am I even relevant with all the disruption and tech innovation that's happening at the moment in the creative industry? There's a lot of change, and there will be a lot of change to come as well. So I feel like, for a working creative, it's very important to stay connected to yourself and stay clear around why are you a creative in the first place? What is it about your unique perspective and your unique voice that you want to kind of harness and nurture? So today I wanted to discuss 5 key pillars that personally I find are really helpful when I find myself in a creative burnout or creative stress, if you like. The first one is remember what got you excited about creativity in the first place. Creation and creativity in any kind of form, whether it's poetry, writing, photography, filmmaking, it's a very playful but also very curious space. It's an invitation to inquire. It's a space of experimentation where you need to feel like you're free to experiment and to create and to be inspired. If you're starting to lose that feeling in that sense, then I definitely invite you to start a project for yourself. The amount of people that I speak to that are working creatives, but they just don't create for themselves anymore. That's the first mistake that you could do that would set you apart from your own craft and your ability to stay in love with everything that you do in the creative space. So the first pillar is creativity is curiosity at play. And if you're feeling that you've lost that freedom to play, that inquiry around your craft, I definitely invite you to perhaps slow down and find 1 or 2 personal projects that you would like to nurture without boundaries, without limitations, and invite that sense of freedom and sense of curiosity back into your process. And during that, finding new ways, new artists to be inspired from is a key component to reigniting that passion flame. So the second pillar I want to chat through is maintaining creative freedom. A lot of the times creatives need to be chameleons. They need to kind of embody another brand, embody the client's vision for a project, and fully kind of immerse themselves within the objectives of a project or even the way that the client wants to be represented in the campaign or in the market. Now, doing that is absolutely needed to make sure that you're creating on brand and in full alignment with what your client's expecting. But at the same time, if you continually adopt a different tone of voice, a different brand identity, sometimes you would end up losing your own personal identity along the way. And that's where I definitely would invite you to take your personal projects as seriously as your client's projects. Treat them just with the same importance and celebrate the small wins. I would also recommend that choose personal projects that you feel could migrate into your client space, and that way you would reinvite that passion into your day-to-day and the work that you do for your clients. So for example, let's say that you work in an agency, but at the same time you are a poet or you are a musician. Find ways to create personal projects within your space and within your passion points that you feel maybe 1 or 2 clients could be excited about migrating a little bit of what you create into their world, right? So that doesn't have to be a exact copy of what you create for yourself, but I definitely feel that there's sometimes more than you would think, a lot more interest from clients to get something a little bit different and get a feel for your personal voice as a person that's leading that account creatively. So the third pillar that I feel really helps me when I find myself in a creative rut is continuous self-discovery. The alignment between who you are today and who you were perhaps 5 years ago or 3 years ago, there's an evolution that happens across all of our personal timelines. But not all of the time we feel like we are fully aligned and connected to that evolution. So finding time to, again, slow down and meet yourself in different ways. And the fourth pillar is an important one. It's having a voice and defining your style. Every creative should understand what sets them apart from the pack, what makes you different. And personally, I feel like understanding that tone of voice and owning it and developing it is a crucial part in making sure that your creative fire and creative flame is always alive, because that is your personal identity. And of course, there is going to be moments where perhaps your personal voice and personal identity would change and develop. And sometimes we lose touch with that as well. And that's okay. But as long as you make space and time to reconnect with, what gets you excited in the creative space and in your mediums, and try to focus on the things that you find yourselves through them, and develop your own tone of voice through that medium as well. So ultimately, I feel like developing as a working creative and owning a voice in that space would definitely get you to shine from the other vanilla creatives that would be in the industry, compliant with whatever's trending at the time. So the fifth pillar that I wanted to chat through today is Ikigai. And Ikigai is a Japanese concept that invites you to explore and examine your life to really understand, what is the meaning of life for you? What drives meaning in your life? And it's a beautiful concept because it invites you then to look at life in various different intersections. What do you love? What are you good at? What the world needs? And what you can be paid for. And once you do that a few times a year, you start realizing that even that chart, the Ikigai chart, starts changing and morphing. And that's part of your personal development. I feel like the Ikigai process is a really nice way to meet yourself and to ask yourself a few questions that would help define what your life's purpose or life's work could be. It's a beautiful process that I've only recently adopted it, but I usually like to do it twice a year and see how that develops as well, from each chart to the next. In conclusion, I would say try to keep the fire alive. Enjoy the process of creating. The amount of people that sometimes I meet and they say, yeah, I'm creative and I work in this agency, or I work in this production house, for example. And they are known in the industry, but they don't create anything for themselves. How could you be a creative and not make things for yourself, and not create for the reason why you became a creative in the first place? Whether that's, writing cartoon stories, or, shooting on film, for example, or doing film photography, or doing voiceovers. I don't know, whatever got you in the creative space in the first place. But I feel like, always finding time to create for yourself is going to keep that flame alive. And stay curious, stay playful, stay open to be inspired, and definitely look out for novel experiences in the creative space to be inspired, and learn from other modalities. There's a lot of different ways that different mediums could inspire and lead to collaboration, and again lead to that unique tone of voice. Sometimes when you mix your personal passion projects with your client work, you start realizing, okay, there's some areas of magic here that can really come through. So this is an invitation to create with freedom and create with a sense of playfulness. If you made it this far into the video, I want to say a big thank you, and I really hope this gave you a bit of value to go out and start a project for yourself and find new ways to be inspired. I'll see you soon. Keep creating and stay inspired.